you have unexplained infertility, the treatment is IVF. IVF is on average $60,000 per live birth.
My God.
If you look at the pie chart of infertility, it's less than like 7% of all cases of infertility needs IVF.
Less than 7%?
Over 50% of women are doing IVF that don't need IVF.
Do you have any coping mechanisms for the ladies that are going through this?
Women's intuition is typically right. If you're like, something's not right, you're probably right.
Welcome back, Mom Juice. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Dr. Amy Beckley on the podcast today. And what's funny is I'm going to read this really powerhouse charged bio, but when she filled out her podcast forms, the simplicity behind scientist, founder, and hormone boss really stuck with me, Amy. That was my ultimate favorite. So let's go ahead and dive into Amy's powerhouse bio, and then we will get into her story. But Amy has a PhD in pharmacology from CU Denver and an MBA from Kansas State University. Her personal battle with infertility and recurrent miscarriage led to her founding Proov, a company that helps women track hormones, maintain optimal hormone balance, and help women reach their goals faster. Whether that is the get pregnant or the ease into menopause without symptoms, Proov is here to help you. And what I love about Amy is that throughout this fantastic bio, what she wrote, the simplicity bio in her forms to fill out for the Only Moms podcast was scientist, founder, and hormone boss. Okay, that's like right up my alley. Anyways, welcome to Only Moms, Amy.
So thank you for having me, first off.
Yeah.
So I'm a scientist. I have a PhD in pharmacology, which is just a really fancy name for like, I like to see how things work. So like how hormones affect the body and what happens when you're like under too much stress or any kind of disease state. Really, really love science. I'm a total science nerd. And I was just going about my life, being a scientist. I got married. I bought a house expecting to have 2 kids, got the nice neighborhood with the nice school, got the dog, and then, all right, cool. Let's, rip out the IUD and let's go. And realized it was not easy. I had no knowledge about my body, my own hormones, my own reproductive health. I, given the tools I had, which was like a thermometer and like an ovulation test, could tell like something was not right. Like my charts didn't look like the textbooks. And I was like, what's going on here? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the doctor. They're going to help. No, you haven't been trying long enough. You're too young. And then eventually...
Too young?
Too young. I was 29. It's too young.
Okay.
Then I got that you haven't had enough miscarriages because apparently... 3 before someone will help you.
What?
And, yeah.
Amy.
I just realized that the whole system was... Like, we're set up to fail as women. Like,
yeah.
It's just like you have to hit this point of desperation. Mm-hmm. And then I did. I hit that point of desperation. I had had 3 miscarriages. I had been struggling over a year. Finally went to the doctor. They ran all the tests they possibly could, and they came out with my diagnosis of unexplained infertility. And so if you have unexplained infertility, the treatment is IVF. IVF is on average $60,000 per live birth.
Oh my God.
At the point of desperation, not having any answers, having had so many miscarriages, all I wanted to be was a mom, and them telling me the only way this was going to happen is if I literally took my life savings and spent it on doing these procedures. Oh so I did. I mean, that's what most women who are sane will do. And, we did 2 rounds. After the second round, I had my son, who is now 14. So we do have a happy ending. And I always tease that I named him Cash because he took all total joke. Not really why I named him that, but it's a great story.
I love that.
But then, he was about a year and a half old, 18 months old, and you get that itch again. You're like, are they
Mhm.
so cute? I forgot about the crazy baby drama. Want another one. I turned to my husband. I'm like, I am crazy, yes, but I want another baby.
Mhm.
Um, and and I decided at that point that I was gonna learn, I was gonna figure out what was wrong, why I was unexplained, and not do IVF again. So during that process, I went in, I had conversations with my doctor, because we had built a relationship by then. I was like, all right, scientist to MD, like, what did we miss? Why did IVF work? Why me trying? And we got on this idea of hormones. And I'm like, well, I can get pregnant, I can fertilize the egg, but like, I just can't make it past that part. And he's like, well, that's what this hormone called progesterone does, is it supports your body, your uterine lining, to be receptive to that embryo and to carry it for that 9 months when you're pregnant. And that's what the big shot in the butt is during IVF. Is anybody who's gone through IVF, you give a whole bunch of meds to stimulate a bunch of eggs, they retrieve them, and then you transfer in, one or two embryos, but you have a big shot of progesterone after you do that to make sure the uterine lining is prepared for that pregnancy. So I'm like, what if I just need the progesterone part? And so I
Mhm.
told him, I was like, skip all this IVF stuff. Like, I'll do it by myself at home with the tools we have. And then after we confirm ovulation, I will just take progesterone like we did with IVF. He's like, we don't know if that's going to work, but it's great theory.
Right.
2 cycles. 2 cycles is what it took me. $10 generic prescription, and I have an 11-year-old daughter.
What was the
And I
cost
was like,
difference?
this is insane that like we had to go through all this for such a
Yeah.
simple thing. And that's where I came to this idea of like we need a better way to educate women that doctors are amazing. Doctors are one human being with one set of education that sees multiple patients. And in order for us to get the best health care for us, we have to know ourselves. We have to advocate for ourselves. We have to learn about ourselves. And so that's why I created Proov, was to just have a way to understand our hormones, get some answers, have information to give to physicians, to have proof, to
Yeah.
prove that you need help sooner. There should
Yeah.
be no arbitrary 3 miscarriages or 12 months of infertility. It should be, hey, I identified this issue. You don't have to live with cancer for 3 years before you get treated.
Right.
Why do we have to
No.
go infertility?
No, absolutely. Thank you for that rundown. I have a lot of questions. You guys, I came to this interview quite blind because I do feel like ignorance is bliss in this. And if you are experiencing infertility, then you may have a lot of the same questions that I do. We're so lucky to have Amy on because we're not all scientists. So let's go ahead and break out the mom juice for all of the non-scientist women who want to advocate for themselves. Amy is drinking our rosé. I'm excited to see your reaction. Have you had our rosé before, Amy?
Not.
Really? Okay. Yes. I went with our cab. It's still a little
Red
chilly.
wine gives me heartburn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you identified why?
Um, no, but I go with the whites. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. Thanks. Our rosé it's so funny. She has been our number one seller for quite a while now, and we just found out last week that our Sauvignon Blanc is beating her out all of a sudden.
That was going to be my preference, but my liquor store didn't have that one.
Oh, well, because she's selling out. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, that's my go-to. I used to
Okay.
like Pinot Grigios, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's too sweet for me.
Yeah.
And that's typically why I don't get the rosé because it's too sweet, but this is not too sweet.
Yeah, all of our wine is low sugar. And we put all of the ingredients on the back of the bottle. So that is something that, especially even with a rosé, you're getting a semi-sweet. Everyone kept requesting a sweeter wine. And for us, we're like, okay, how do we stick to our mission, but still give our audience what they want? Our rosé was almost our way of solving that. It punches you immediately with a red fruit forward flavor that kind of tricks your taste buds into thinking you're getting all the sugar, but you're really not. It's almost to like a gateway drug to get you familiar with, a more complex wine, something more mature, and then you can move into other things. But yeah,
That's really good.
I'm glad you like it. Okay, Amy, so my first question after you gave me your little rundown, what is the cost comparison to first baby to second baby with full IVF, 2 rounds, to 2 shots in the booty?
So it wasn't even a shot, it was a vaginal suppository.
Wow.
So 2 rounds of IVF is about $60,000 all in. So if you go with all the medications you have to do, all
Mhm.
the appointments, I mean, like I was doing it in the summer and you have to go get your blood drawn like every 2 days and it looks like you're a drug addict, to be honest. And so I'd wear like long sleeves in the summer and everyone was
Oh
like, Amy,
God.
what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm just really cold.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
but you have to like miss work. And so you have to go in and get scans every other day for like a week. And if you're trying not to be like, hey, I'm doing IVF, like you have to say you're going to the dentist or like, people start talking about this.
Yeah.
Where's Amy? Like it's so there's the time commitment, and then there's all the medications. Medications are about $8,000 to $10,000 per cycle,
Ooh.
and then the medical cost is about $20,000 per cycle. And then you can do a bunch of add-on stuff. So you can get genetic testing, you can freeze back your additional embryos, you can do like additional testing to see like when is the
Mm-hmm.
optimal time to do implantation. So average $60,000 per live birth
Okay.
for IVF. So about $25,000 to $30,000 per cycle. With my daughter, it was a $10 prescription that was covered by my insurance. It was a $10 ovulation test off of Amazon.
Wow.
It was my husband and I, which were,
Yeah.
had all the tools.
Right.
But yeah, that's all it
Okay.
was.
So about $20 average cost for child number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go to the OB, I had to go to the doctor and get the prescription.
Of
So
course.
like my $80 copay. So yeah,
Yeah.
$100 versus like 30,000.
Right. That's incredible. If you were going to start the journey over, right? Um, Especially for the women that don't have the knowledge that you have, and where would you start all of this?
Yeah, so I would start immediately, but with testing.
Okay.
I would not go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to try for a little bit. The typical journey of a woman is, all right, I'm going to take the birth control. I'm either going to stop taking the pill, remove my IUD, whatever. And I'm going to try nonchalantly. I'll just use this free app that I have. It'll tell me when to have intercourse. We're just going to,
Mhm.
just ease into it. That just gets you stressed and stressed and stressed because it's just not happening when you think it should. And then you just start to like get in this like cycle. And the reality is infertility affects 1 in 5 couples. And most
Wow.
couples are waiting to have kids until into their 30s when, our bodies are meant to have children in their 20s. And by 30s, we're already starting our hormone decline into menopause. And so that's why you're starting to see it just increases infertility rates because our bodies are like, oh, I'm done with kids. We're going to wind back down.
Really? In their in 30s?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amy,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why do we not have as much time?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
your peak fertility is in your 20s. I can't
Okay.
even imagine me being a 24-year-old even thinking about having kids. Like,
Yeah.
it's unfathomable. And then now it's just so expensive with daycare and like
Right.
everything else, that like, people are like, I'm gonna be smart and I'm gonna build my
Mm-hmm.
career and get a good house and do all that stuff
Yeah.
before I bring kids into the world.
Have
And then
some
it's almost like
stability.
we're punished because we waited so long and our body, it just takes longer to do it. So I would 100% start with testing. I would test myself. I would test my husband. I would get all the genetic stuff, all that stuff. That's where I would start. And my sister, who is learned everything from me, so she's way smarter, 8 years younger than I am. And she called me and she's like, Amy, Max and I, we got married last year. We want to have a kid. And I was like, all right, cool. Ding, 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 do all this stuff. She got pregnant in 3 months, didn't have a single
Wow.
miscarriage, nothing. And it's because she went at it as this proactive way. She had her
Hmm.
struggles. She got pregnant and she started spotting during her pregnancy, and her doctor wouldn't listen, like, oh, it's normal and it's fine.
Hmm.
And she calls me, I'm like, it's not normal, it's not fine. Here's what you have to do, here's what you have to ask for. And it's like,
Wow.
it's a like, miscarriage is common. It's
Hmm.
not normal and it's not okay. COVID was common. It's not normal and it's not okay.
Hmm.
Like, we shouldn't be, oh, well, it happens 25% of the times. Let's just ignore it. It's like, no, no things.
Yeah.
Um,
And it has to happen 3 times for someone to talk to me. Outrageous.
yeah. So here's the logic behind this is most miscarriages are genetic, which means your sperm and your egg just didn't meet and it's just a genetic thing. But 30% of them are what I call preventable. And that's because you don't have enough of certain nutrients, or you're not taking the right type of prenatal vitamins. That's not as common anymore. Some kind of infection. So if you have an infection in your uterus, or your vaginal canal, it could affect your ability to get pregnant or to stay pregnant. Any type of hormone imbalance, so a progesterone issue, which is an ovarian function thing, a thyroid issue, a prolactin issue. These are all preventable things, but you're not going to know them unless you go test for them. And so if you have a miscarriage, oh, I'm assuming it was just genetic. We're just going to let it go. And then you
Mhm.
have three, and then you're like, oh, it was a thyroid thing. I could have just given you this generic thyroid medication. Why can't we like move that up a little bit?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So when you say you would start with testing, is it a hormone test? Is there multiple tests that we should be taking? What are the recommended tests?
Yes, so it takes two. So, but we're not just talking about women, we're talking about the male partner too. Whether you have a donor, you have a partner, plot it off Facebook, whatever. You want both partners tested. Both sides of the equation tested. A lot of women take it completely on themselves, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to do ovulation testing. I'm going to know what the timing is, and the man just is there to participate, but doesn't do anything. When half the problems are the man. So get a sperm test, a sperm analysis for him, most definitely. For her, she needs to test her hormones, and that's not just finding fertile window. Some of the genetic testing, if she has a certain background. And so my sister's husband is of Jewish descent, and so they have some other things that kind of run in their family that their lineage that they want to make sure is
Hmm.
not there. Cystic fibrosis testing, things like
Yeah. I'm a carrier of cystic fibrosis and I didn't realize, and my husband surprisingly is also a carrier. And of course, we didn't find out until we were well into the pregnancy. So that was scary.
yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, I mean, simple ultrasound. I mean, when people do fertility testing, it's like find your egg count, your ovarian
Hmm.
reserve, which is fine to know, like, the timeline, like how many years do you have, but it doesn't tell you if you can conceive at that particular moment in time.
Right.
And so, like, so a
Okay.
35-year-old could have a normal ovarian reserve, but her hormones are not as good as when in her 20s. Um, her tubes could be blocked.
Hmm.
She could have a bunch of other things. So
There's, yeah. There's so many things that could be going on. If we were trying to conceive, how long, what is that time window from, okay, I want to I want to try to have a baby, and okay, we haven't gotten pregnant yet, that you would consider yourself suffering with infertility?
so medical society or whatever says 12 months.
Okay.
And then it's 6 months if you're over 35.
Hmm.
I don't agree with arbitrary timelines. because, everyone's different. So if you come in and you're 34 and you want 3 kids, you shouldn't wait 6 months. You should, and a lot of times if you just go blindly into the doctor and they say, okay, well, how long have you been trying? And they're like, 3 months. They're gonna be like, we'll go home. You have to
Yeah.
come with some type of like knowledge.
Problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A really good one that I tell women all the time is most women are put on birth control not for the contraceptive part of it, but for some kind of symptom that they have, whether that's, heavy periods, which was my issue, acne, weight gain, too much hair on your chest or
Right.
whatever, like some kind of like, PMS signals, whatever. Those are actually indicators that you could have a hormone imbalance that could lead to infertility down the line. And so just knowing that you were put on birth control because of that is enough for you to get you in there to get additional testing. So if you say, hey, I want to get my IUD out because I want to start trying, but I want you to know I got this when I was 18, not because I was, needed it for birth control, but because I had
Right.
such bad acne and those kind of things. So I want you to do additional testing to make sure, and so that's like enough to kind of open the door to I guess justify testing for.
Okay. No, that's really good because that is a more simple way of going in, but creating a reason why there should be that extra support or extra testing. And also that you have some sort of knowledge that something was off or could be off with your body. And a lot of times we simply don't advocate for ourselves because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing is, I have an 11-year-old daughter and she gets 1 hour in her entire middle school career about her menstrual cycle. 1 hour. That's it.
Yeah.
And we just don't get, and there's no menopause education. Like OBGYNs don't get menopause education. And
Really?
yeah, yeah. So the doctor who is the hormone doctor that knows the
Hmm.
most about hormones is the reproductive endocrinologist. This is also called the IVF doctor. And so you've taken the physician that knows the most about hormones and reproductive biology, and you've now specialized them to do IVF because this is the
Hmm.
procedure that, needs a lot of training. And so what you've
Hmm.
created is this gap in education and typical healthcare and medical community about hormones and fertility and menstrual cycles. And so nobody is getting the education. I created Proov because I was so sick of, well, you can't test your hormones. It's too complicated. I mean, I've had hormone issues my entire life,
Yeah.
from heavy periods and getting DNCs when I was in my 20s because they just got so heavy. It was just like,
Yeah.
spare you the details, the gory details, but and then, infertility, recurrent miscarriage, and then now I'm in my 40s and it's like, hormone imbalances are causing me to wake up at 2:30 in the morning going, ding, I'm awake. Why am I awake?
Yeah. Do you think that or are you seeing that IVF is still the like golden child of the answer to all?
Yeah, IVF is what I call a medical band-aid. And
Mm,
so a band-aid is not there to heal your issue, it's to cover it up, right?
okay.
And so what it does is it covers up the issue and it just circumvents everything and it like, oh, you don't need tubes, we're just gonna fertilize it for you. You don't need sperm to swim, we'll just inject it right in
Mm-hmm.
there. And so they try to get as many of the external factors out to make it as high as possible to conceive.
Right.
Um, and so and it's an expensive procedure
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of money behind it, a lot of pharmaceutical
Right.
companies, $8,000 to $10,000 in just the medications. They're doing really big studies, really expensive studies to show that it works. And doctors cost a lot of money to go to these
Mm-hmm.
doctors. And so there's just a lot of money in the industry. And so there's a lot of innovation in it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone always asks me, well, Amy, if we really needed hormone monitoring, don't you think it would have been invented by now? And I said, there's no financial incentive from a pharma company or anybody out there to do it. And so
Right.
bootstrap this. I literally went into my basement. I ordered stuff off the internet. I started a crowdfunding campaign and I just did it. And I, went on a
That's
Facebook
awesome.
group and I'm like, do you want this kind of test? And I found the Facebook group that said, yes, absolutely. And they funded it and I made it and I sold it and I took the money and I bought more and I just kind of grew it from there. Because, there's no like pharma company out there that wants to do it. It has to come
Mhm.
from women who've been through it and who want that knowledge.
Right. Amy, we need to cheers to you for bootstrapping such an amazing company. Not like, it's always the beauty companies that they're like, I started this formula in my kitchen. It's like, no, we're going to start hormone testing in the basement. And cheers to that. Okay, so is IVF as popular in other countries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, in the EU and the UK, it is a lot of times covered.
Mm,
So they have like universal health care. So like
right.
50% of their paycheck goes to their healthcare system. And so everything is like covered. But the problem is
Hmm.
there's such long lines and so much red tape. Like if you're over a certain BMI or if you already have one child or I don't know what the age is. It's either 35, I think is the age. You don't
Hmm.
qualify anymore.
Okay.
And so it is very popular. It is covered. There's a whole touristy agency where like it's cheaper to go get your IVF in Spain. And
Oh, oh my gosh, that's insane. We're going on an IVF cruise. That's what this is. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. I know that you have how what am I do I have my numbers right? Did you suffer from 7 miscarriages? Oh my
yeah.
gosh, Amy. We have so many women that are going through this and struggling through the same thing. That is a crazy amount of miscarriage. I can't even imagine the mental toll it took on you then and still, right? I mean, when you think about it, do you have any coping mechanisms for the ladies that are going through this?
Um, I always thought it was my fault.
Mhm.
Um, my my second miscarriage happened around my birthday, and every year my friend group and I would go to Vegas and we'd go see Britney Spears in Vegas. That was like our thing to do.
Oh, I love that.
And I got a positive pregnancy test like the day I was leaving on the plane. And I told everybody I brought all my pregnancy tests and I was like showing them, like I'd pee every time. They're like, oh, it's great, it's positive. Blah, blah, blah. And I went to a bar and all I had was tonic water
Hmm.
because I didn't want to drink and it was fine. Like I was
Yeah.
at 9, I was good. I was drinking tonic water. I get back from the trip, started bleeding, had a miscarriage, and then my mind went in spiral mode. And I'm Googling that the thing in tonic water called like quinone or something, if you drink too much of it, it can cause miscarriages. And I'm like, oh, even when I try to be healthy, like I'm still like causing these miscarriages.
Oh my God.
And I mean, that wasn't it. But like
Right, right.
we all go through this, like, well, what did I do? Like, okay, I'm going to
Hmm.
stop exercising. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop that. Like, what did I do? What did I do? And we try to like overanalyze like what it is. And then you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, it just happens. No big deal.
Yeah.
And it's like you're put off and it's just, and so I took that energy and I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm going to find out why. I'm going to find
Hmm.
out why. And so I'm not saying by any means it was easy or anything, but I felt like my purpose behind these losses was to bring me to where I am today. And that when
Hmm.
I look back on it, if that hadn't happened to me, I would not have created this that's helping so many people now
Yeah.
advocate for themselves. And so, sometimes you do have to go through stuff to get to the other side and be stronger for it. But don't, don't blame yourself and
Hmm.
don't surround yourself with good people. If your doctor's not listening to you, go get another doctor.
Yeah.
If your friends are being bitches, Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go get new friends. You make such a good point. As women, just in society in general, we put so much blame on ourselves. And with this, it's such an isolated personal issue that no one else is taking as serious as we are, especially, right? You go to your doctor, they brush you off. We're looking up what's in tonic water, when truly it was your hormones. And when you Google biggest questions surrounding infertility, one of the top 5 questions is this only a woman problem? And one of the things that you alluded to earlier in the testing, the early testing that you should be doing, part of that, 50% of that is with your partner, right? And so we put so much blame on ourselves. We immediately think, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my body? What did I consume? All of that. And, it takes 2 to tango. This is not only a female issue.
Welcome to season 2 of Only Moms. And I can kick things off without giving a little treat to all of my favorites. So if you're new here, I founded a winery, co-founded actually with my business partner, Kristen Taylor, called Mom Juice. And we're all about keeping the bullshit out of wine. So not only do we slap our ingredients on the back of the label, but we are also gluten-free, vegetarian. Yeah, not all wine is vegetarian, okay? You might just be drinking fish bladder, and that's fucking gross. Regardless, we're giving you 20% off today. So all you have to do is go to momjuicewine.com, and at the end of your order, put in Only Moms as your discount code, and treat yourself, girl.
What testing, when you're testing the male sperm, what are those numbers that you're looking to achieve there?
So the first thing that the male should do is look at their motile sperm.
Okay.
And so those are the 2 biggest and most important parameters is there sperm and is it swimming? And then if those are like low, then you have to do like blood panels, and you have to do like go in and look, is there any like structural issues or anything like that. But the test that we sell and that we advocate for, it does all those calculations for you. And so it puts you on this little scale, it gives you a number, and it's like red, yellow, green. And so like green obviously is good and red's bad.
Thank you, Amy. We need the color coordination over here. I'm telling you, some of this stuff is so over my head. Even when you're saying it, I'm like, oh my God, if I bought this test, like, how would I even know?
This is 1,000,000% true, because there's all these tests that people have and all these numbers and sheets, and it's like, well, I don't even know what this even means. And then like you have to go talk to a doctor, and they're like not going to listen to you, or they're like, well, that's stupid. You got to do my test and spend more, whatever it is. And so like that's our biggest thing, is like we want you to understand what your results mean. Otherwise, we didn't do our job.
Well, have you ever received your blood test results from your doctor's office in your like my chart, and they call you and they're like, your results are in, you can see them in your my chart, and I'm like, no wait, I don't know what any of this is. I do need you to explain it. Like, I think even when I received my blood test back for my pregnancy, I don't know the name of the specific hormone. I'm like Googling what I should be looking up in this blood test in this like super special moment for me. And I'm so confused. And I love that you're like, I don't want to say dumbing it down for us, but like giving us something that's digestible in a very emotional moment in time for everyone involved in it is really important to the products that you're bringing to market.
Yeah, it's not helpful unless you know what it means and what to do with that information to move forward.
Another thing that I love, Amy, and I would love for you to just tell us all of the products, or at least like what are the most popular products being used right now with Proov, but you're not having to, with Amy's products, you're not having to stick yourself. You're not like, it's not painful. Is this all urine-based products? Wonderful.
Yeah. Except for the sperm one, that is obviously a sperm sample.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of our tests are urine-based. Most of them use first morning urine. It comes with an app. You download the app. It tells you, when to test, how to test. You scan the results in your phone. You don't need like external devices or anything. It gives you numbers, and then it tells you like what those numbers mean. And then it'll give you like a report card at the end. And at the report card will tell you, what's your ovarian reserve? Is it low? Is it diminishing? Is it normal? And then we tell you stuff about your baseline hormones. And so if you have different ratios of different hormones, you could be predisposed to things like PCOS or low ovarian reserve or bad ovarian function. And so we'll look at your hormones very in depth and find ratios and flag things that look out of normal range.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can say, hey, this ratio was over 2. That sometimes means women have PCOS. Hey, doctor, could I get some testing to see if I have PCOS? Then, of course, we find the fertile window so you can time intercourse. And then we look what happens after ovulation, which is when implantation happens, to see what's the hormone output in your body. Is it high enough? Is it stable enough to support healthy implantation? Or is there anything you could do to kind of increase your chances? Are there medications you need? And then we actually have telehealth built into our platform. And so if we identify you as a candidate of having a certain hormone pattern that can be benefited by a certain medication, we'll tag that and be like,
Wow.
hey, this is what we suggest for you. Would you like to talk to a doctor about this medication? And we're trying to kind of like limit that red tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you'll see, you'll buy something on Amazon or some, ad you saw on Facebook or Instagram, and you'll take this test and then you'll go to the doctor. And you're like, this thing told me that my vaginal microbiome was so hostile and whatever. And then the doctor's like, throw it out the window. I got my own test. And you're sitting there down, you're on this like, hamster wheel again, trying to do it because now you're in there. Well, I don't believe that, right? So we want to cut out all that stuff. You found the issue. We know exactly what you need. Here you go. We'll deliver it to your house. Cut out the middle.
Mind you, all of the things that you named off are not solved with IVF.
So the number, over 50% of women are doing IVF that don't need IVF.
Wow.
The number one cause of infertility is unexplained infertility. This means so many people are going through this and they have no idea why. And it could be a simple hormone issue. Now, if you took Proov tests and it shows your hormones are fine, everything, and you took a test and your tubes were blocked, you feel confident, I am going to go do IVF because I can't get pregnant the other way. Right? You at least you've uncovered all the stones, like this is exactly what you had to do, and you feel good with that decision. And it's like, do the testing, and if there is some kind of imbalance, like give us a couple months to fix the imbalance, see if it helps, and then then if you feel, go for it.
Then Amy, are your tubes being blocked the only reason you would do IVF? Can everything else be okay?
Any type of issues in your uterus. So some women, it's called a heart-shaped uterus. It's kind of like structurally not able to kind of support conception. So that's like, simple ultrasound. Not having the pieces. So if you're a lesbian or same-sex couple, like obviously you can't do it yourself. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to do IVF. You could get a donor or something like that. Not having eggs. So if you're over 44 is really the upper limit of a natural pregnancy in a woman. So if you're over 44, it's typically you need donor eggs. And if you're doing donor eggs, that's typically that you need IVF for that. No sperm at all, you need IVF. So if there's a problem with sperm production and you don't have any sperm at all, you need IVF. If it's very, very low, you need IVF. Otherwise, you can get away with IUI. But there's if you look at the pie chart of infertility, it's less than like 7% of all cases of infertility needs IVF.
Less than 7%?
Of the total causes of infertility, only 7% of them really need IVF.
Wow.
And so what's typically happening is you're a woman, you want to try to have a baby, you try for 12 months, you download your free app, you time intercourse, it's not working, it's not working. You go to the doctor, oh, well, we can, test this thing. Oh, we don't know what's wrong with you. Oh, you don't want to wait any longer? Okay, cool. Let's do IVF. And
Right.
so it's really the issue with women being so frustrated that they're not pregnant because we live in a I want it and I want it yesterday mentality. Like
Yes.
if I get a pinwheel on my browser for more than like 2 seconds, I'm like out. I'm done. And
Workday
so like
over.
yeah, game over. So like if I decided I wanted a baby and it's been a whole year
Hmm.
and I haven't gotten that yet, it is like sign me up for all this stuff. And we've basically designed the healthcare system to not give couples any help at all. And then they're given help. And the thing that's the most highest success rate is IVF, which is 100%
Mm.
true. Per cycle, IVF is way more successful than trying yourself. But
Okay.
if you started this process at month 1 and not month 12, you'd be like, well, I can, wait 6 months and save $40,000 by doing these other things.
Hmm.
By the time you hit 12 months, you're like, I am out. I am like, just take it out of the bank account. I don't even care,
Right.
because
Yeah. I mean, you're desperate at that point and we really want it, right? And you feel again like it's your fault. There's so much blame, something's wrong with you. Um, do you feel like hormone testing should be part of maybe an annual or like as often as we get a pap smear?
yes. I, like pap smears used to be every year. And
Yeah.
now it's like, if you've had the same partner, you come in every 5 years.
Yeah, they're like once in your lifetime is fine. Like,
And the same thing is with like with just general blood work. It's only like offered to you once every like 3 years. You actually have
yeah.
to go in and be like, can you do my blood work every year? Every year you have to ask for it. You have to
Hmm.
physically tell them you want all the stuff done. Otherwise they
Right.
won't.
So okay, so do you think annually as women, do you think every 3 years, like if you were gonna just be out here regular degular but testing your hormones, how often would you do it?
I personally would do it every year.
Okay.
And when you say test hormones, there's two ways to think about this. One is like a blood test that you can
Okay.
test, like, your ovarian reserve and like your thyroid function, stuff like that. Like, absolutely do that. The other one is like this urine-based testing. So,
Hmm.
blood test is a single point in time, and we're just getting a function of your body. And whereas hormone testing, your hormones fluctuate across your cycle, so you can't just do it one time. And so
Right.
if you do the Proov urine testing and you do a whole cycle, you can see, are you still making estrogen? Are you still making progesterone? Like, what's your
Mm.
ovarian reserve? Like, you get to see all these parameters and all these scores in this report card. And if you keep that, and that's kind of like your baseline, you do it when you don't feel symptoms or you're not in the point of desperation that you really need to have a baby yesterday,
Hmm.
and you just do it, then you know what your baseline is. And then as you
Yeah.
get older and maybe you start waking up at 2:30 in the morning, or you have severe anxiety, or you're gaining weight and you don't understand why, then you can go back and be like, all right, I'm going to go test my hormones, and you can see how they've changed. And then you can say, oh, I'm not making progesterone anymore. Okay, and you can kind of know that.
Would that qualify you for premenopause then? What are you lacking in hormones that qualify for premenopause? Asking for a friend.
Menopause and perimenopause is
Mm.
literally the only aspect of anything I can think of that does not have a diagnostic test.
Okay.
You can diagnose yourself if you have diabetes, you have cancer, you have COVID, you have whatever. Menopause, no such thing. There's no test for that. We don't know. We just go off with symptoms. So
Okay.
nobody
Great.
knows when it starts. Nobody knows it started. We have no idea.
We're all just guessing.
We're all guessing. But basically, what menopause is when your ovary stops working. And so
Okay.
your ovary makes two main hormones. Well, three. One is estrogen, the other one's progesterone, and the third one is testosterone.
Okay.
And so you have this normal functioning ovary, and then it starts to decline and then just dies. And so that decline, as soon as it starts to decline, that is perimenopause. And then when it's
Okay.
done, it makes no more hormones. That's menopause. And so what we don't know is what's the start of that decline. And we've seen now that in 30s, so in 30 to 35 is when that decline starts to happen.
Mm.
And some women get symptoms in their mid 30s. Some of them don't get it till 40. Some don't get symptoms at all. And so we don't really know what's happening. And so that's one of
Right.
my goals in life is to figure out what's happening with this, because hormones are not just to make babies. Hormones make our brain function.
Mm-hmm.
It makes our heart function, our bones strong. And so, as we don't make these hormones anymore, we are susceptible to osteoporosis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, heart disease, all these really, really bad things that we don't want to happen. And so, if us as women could understand our hormones and know the minute those start to decline, and we could do things to support them, like don't get on your phone an hour before bed, blackout curtains, eating certain
Mm-hmm.
foods, like starting HRT, hormone therapy, sooner than later. A bunch of different things that knowledge would make us not necessarily live longer,
Mm-hmm.
but live healthier longer, right?
Okay.
I mean, like, I want to be the grandma that goes on like major trips with her grandkids. I don't want to be the
Yes.
one like wheeling around grandma and like she can't do
Yep.
anything.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Cool, grandma. Are there any lifestyle changes that you could recommend for women in general, right? That are going to help with the fertility process, that are just going to help us live that longer life or the healthier life,
Yeah, I mean, nothing that nobody is like, oh my God, that's rocket science.
right?
Like Mediterranean diet, whole foods, not processed foods, not sugars. Um, getting good night's sleep. Women actually need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. They actually need
Mm.
more sleep than men do.
Pretty much back to the basics,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, something that women don't often think about is like having fun. Um, I know it sounds like,
Right.
wait, what? Like, schedule date nights with your significant other.
Hmm.
Schedule, girls' nights. I have a group
Yeah.
of mom friends. We do bunko once every quarter, and it's just
Oh, that's fun.
fun to go out and like hang out and do stuff. When
Yeah.
our kids go to dances, the adults go out and hang out,
Yeah.
while the kids are doing their thing, so like have fun with life. You can get
Yeah.
so caught up with like, oh, my job is stressful and this is stressful and no, that like you forget to have fun
Yeah. No, I agree.
with like infertility or something like that. It's just especially hard.
Hmm. Amy, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find Proov, and if you have anything special going on at Proov. Should we purchase now? Should we purchase on the weekend? Like, what's coming next?
So you can find us on our website. It's proovtest.com. So Proov test.com. We're also available on Amazon. Everybody likes the very, very fast shipping. We are also available at CVS and Walgreens.
Nice.
So that's kind of a cool thing. If you go to our website, we have free ebooks. And so we have one for the perimenopause and one for the fertility. It's free. It's just basic education. What are hormones? What do they do? Questions you ask your doctor. What is menopause? How do I know it's coming? What are the symptoms? All that fun
Okay.
stuff. And then we do have a spring sale. So Amazon's having a sale at the end
Okay.
of March.
End of
Yes.
March.
The big spring sale, I don't know. But yeah, everything's gonna be on
Perfect.
sale on Amazon. And then when you're in the inner circle of Proov and you're using the app, everything is discounted from then. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so
Okay,
when
great.
yeah.
Perfect. So we don't have to wait until spring. We can just join the inner circle.
Yeah, so basically, you download the app, you do your first test, and you're going to unlock, our insider club, which gets you 25% off basically for life.
Oh, for life, Amy. Cheers. Thank you so much, Amy. I really do appreciate you being on today.
That was really good wine.
Oh, thank you. I'm ready to start my hormone testing journey, so I will report back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me or any parts of the story, anything we missed out on that you wanted to chat about?
Just advocate for yourself. Women's intuition is typically right. If you're like, something's not right, you're probably
Yeah.
right. Don't take no for an answer. There's plenty of doctors in the sea. You don't have to go with an a-hole one if they're bad. Your troop, your tribe, if they're not physically in person people because you're nervous to talk to people, join an online community. Get
Yeah.
some help from strangers. I mean, I still have friends to this day that I met through the infertility journey that I am friends with now. So you're never alone. There's always somebody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, Amy. We'll talk to you later. Yes. Bye.